I do, folks. How you doing? Just a quick one. I thought we'd have a quick one about confidence, because confidence is the important factor in when handling your own affairs, and confidence is also what holds everybody back. Now, I know a few folks that know all sorts of stuff and they're capable of handling their own affairs, but just will not because they're absolutely scared of doing something wrong. Now, you're expressing your intent and your free will, or your faith and your free will, whichever way you want to do it, but those three things there can't be interfered with. They just cannot be interfered with. It's as simple as that. So when you're putting it on paper, you're thinking that there's some special way of putting it, and if you get it wrong, everything collapses around you. Your whole world caves in. Well, it doesn't. It rarely doesn't. And it's confidence. Because the reality is, their house of cards is just that. And it comes crashing down with just a little bit of knowledge. Now, a lot of you have already got enough knowledge for it to come crashing down, but you think, yeah, people like me talk, and you think, oh, I need to know all that. No, you don't. I was doing this shit way before I had all this knowledge. I was doing the things you're concerned about when I had probably the same sort of knowledge as you. But the difference was, I had the confidence to put it on paper and send it off. And like I say, you think the world's going to come crashing down if you put something in the post, but it doesn't. I remember my first time posting something off. I was serving, not the first time I ever posted anything off, obviously, but the first time I served anything really serious. I was serving 7 heads of state all in one go, and I had these documents that I'd prepared, and they were really serious documents with all sorts of claims and accusations in there. And I'm at the post office, and I was nervous. Fucking nervous. Now looking back on it, I laugh at it, because there's this nervous feeling before you go to an absolute stranger and give it to them, and they are just going to put it in a box and send it somewhere, and not until tomorrow will it get anywhere, and you're not actually looking anybody in the eyes when they get it, which is a shame for me because I'd love to. But for most folks, that's the nerves. They don't do that bit. Well, if you've served the correct documentation, I know loads of folks are going to tell you that people are going to come to you and give you all sorts. It don't work that way. You're handling your affairs, you're informing them of things, you're getting things on files. So you're putting things on paper. So at that stage, I was expecting all sorts. Well, I don't really know what I was expecting. I'd been told all sorts, but it's a case of now I'm serving the government. So I've served them. Well, now I get to this point now, I must have served well in excess of 100 affidavits of truth, lawful notices and such like on serious key figures in the government, all the way to the very top, right to the top of the judiciary, right to the top of the government. So there is no fear for me that now I can put absolutely anything that's true in paper and send it to them, and I have no care whatsoever, and I can say it to them if I ever came face to face without a care too, but many of you won't have the confidence for that. But don't let lack of confidence stop you from embarking on handling your own affairs, because handling your own affairs is absolutely imperative. You can get all sorts of folks to handle your affairs for you, but you're never ever learning to handle your affairs. And the confidence comes with doing, not with getting somebody else to do. When you get somebody else to do it, you're handing over your power again. And not so much your authority, but certainly your power, because the power is within you to learn this. And when you're just relying on somebody else, you're never ever going to learn it. What have you got to learn when somebody else is doing it for you? Excuse me. You're just not going to learn anything at all while you've got folks doing things for you. And it pains me, because I've got some really, really good friends that have been close enough to me for so long. They should be standing by my side and sharing my load maybe, but in reality I've still got their loads, and it is really, really sad, because the only difference is folks just haven't got the balls to do it themselves, and they think You can do it much better than me, so I need your words, not my words, because your words are better. Well, of course my words are better, because I've been doing it for a long time, and if you did it for a long time, your words would get better. But you trap yourself in this little circles that I talk about, where you personally can't get out of it. You always need somebody else to lift you out of this one, then you drop into the next one, then you need somebody to lift you out of that one. You need to pack your rope ladder, you really do. You need to learn some shit and do some shit. And that is where I am at the minute now. When I first started doing this, some real good friends of mine were telling me, and I mean knowledgeable folks as well in this game, were telling me you just can't do it because you're keeping everybody down, you're not actually helping them, and you're not helping yourself. Well, in actual fact, I can stand by the fact there was wrong on the fact I wasn't helping myself, because all my knowledge came from helping others. But now I'm at this stage now where it's destroyed my health. I've had years now of every minute of my day helping others, and I can't do that anymore, but I've got further paths to follow, which everybody benefits from, which is always helping others. I never stop helping others, I just can't give the commitment I used to it, and I can't do what others expect of me. I came to the realisation quite a while ago that folks really do need to learn for themselves, and I suppose I always knew it, but I kind of blocked it out because I thought along the lines that you guys are thinking of. You can't, because if you don't know all that, you can't do it. But the reality is, it's doing it that teaches you all that. So yes, you can. You just start off at the level you can, and you work your way up, and it works. It absolutely works. Like I say, when I had no knowledge at all, I was beating just about every fucking claim that came towards me, and that was just knowing who I was. So you don't need all the knowledge. All the knowledge are the cherries on the cake, the extra weight. But if you did it with no knowledge whatsoever, and you just claim it, just saying that you're the man or the woman, you will see in absolute they cannot deal with the man or woman. Now don't get this confused. Now there's someone here that are following Robert's process from Observation Deck. This is my process I talk about. Robert's process is a totally different process. Now let me make this clear. Robert's process is a perfect process for anybody who doesn't know anything, or those that don't have the confidence to stand on the fact that the man or the woman. Now, the man or the woman, the jurisdiction of private, it's a totally different jurisdiction. You're talking equity, and you cannot mix jurisdictions. Now, when you stand fast in your private jurisdiction, they can't put you into the public jurisdiction. It's as simple as that. They always need you to do it. It's always you that does it. You choose your jurisdiction and how you respond. But you don't know that. So if you don't know much, you go with Robert's process. If you know a lot, then you should be standing as a man or a woman in absolute, because you don't need all that. Now, also though, there is a crossover with it where you can actually, as a man and woman, use that process. You just change the words within it, and they're the key words, which if you've got that knowledge, you'll know what words they are you need to change in it. And if you don't know them words, what they are to change in it, then you don't know who you are. You need to use that process. So the reality is, as far as I see it, there's a process for both sides depending on how far your knowledge is. And as you go along and you progress, your knowledge will increase and your notices will get better, alter, change. Your jurisdictions may change. It all depends how you wish to start out. But folks look at me and think, I want your knowledge, and they come to me and give me your knowledge like you can jump in at the top ladder. I've been doing this for absolutely years and years, and it's impossible for me to download my knowledge into your head. I've tried. I have tried over the years, but it is impossible, and it's not your downfall, it's not my downfall either. It just doesn't work that way. At the end of the day, there's a lot to learn, and Folks haven't been learning this shit. There's not been many talking about it. I've been talking about it for years. A couple of others have been talking about it for years. And in whole, most of the heavy hitters have been rolling their eyes at us. They've been not ridiculing, because you can't poke holes in it at all. They stay away from it, because any conversation, try and poke a hole in anything that we say, you cannot do it. But the reality is, they didn't get it. It was beyond their comprehension, and they were sure the bills of exchange or something else was the answer. But the reality is, there's a mass fraud. There's a deception. You all know the birth certificate fraud. So why are you still using that name? And this is where the cognitive dissonance of the other heavy hitters came in. They kept using that name. They refused to let go of that name, even though they knew that it was all fraud, and they were saying it while using it. Well, if you're not prepared to let go of that name, and I don't mean all this bullshit of copywriting it all, or signing it over to somebody else, or sending birth certificates back to... That's all bollocks. That's your original freeman on the land traps that were absolutely set up to trap folks. You've got a person for a purpose. It's there to give you remedy. That is what your person is. That is what your all caps name is. You don't need to be afraid of it. You need to know who it is, and you need to know that that is an entity and not one and the same as you. Once you know that, and then you can learn how to use your person if you wish. But at the end of the day, the first stages is create that separation. In there. You cannot go around shouting that name and then saying, no, you can't say I'm not. Once you've evidenced who you are, you want to be who you've evidenced. You can't say one thing and be another. This is muddying the waters, and it don't work. It negates literally everything you ever do if you muddy the waters. So you can't give the name and then claim not to be the name, which a lot of folks do all the fucking time. You've got to have the balls to put your head in the lion's mouth in reality. This is a tough old world that is absolutely built on fraud and deception, and they use intimidation to degrees where sticks and fucking electricity comes out. So when I tell you you've got to be prepared to stick your fucking head in the lion's mouth, don't expect me to be able to open a door for somebody while I'm sticking my head in the lion's mouth every fucking which way I turn. I do it. I started off small, now I'm doing it at a huge scale. You don't even see 99.9% of what I do, of the depths of what I do. But I'm right in the fucking lion's mouth, and I'm plucking its teeth out from inside. So if folks are scared of just sticking their head in, sorry for all these analogies, but I'm going off into Zooland. But the reality is, you got to have the balls to do it. You got to have the balls to take them steps. Whether it's a little claim for a ridiculous debt from a third-party interloper that's got no consent to fucking access that account anyway, or whether it's the government and telling them who the fuck you are. It is all about your confidence. So you folks need to build on that, because I can't give anybody confidence. All I can do is blow smoke up your ass. Well, that puts a smile on your face and goes, yeah, I've got the confidence now. Then you walk away and go, no, I haven't. You got to crack on. You got to get some shit done. And if you don't do it, you'll never ever learn. Get on the ladder, folks. And anybody saying, I don't know how to, that's somebody who hasn't looked. You're putting it on somebody else to tell you how to. I don't know how to. I get literally everybody says to me, I don't know how to. Well, what's that saying? Do it for me. Everybody, do it for me. How do I do that? So you have to learn. You have to learn. I've got to go. My dog's attacking me now. I've opened my door. Have a good one, folks, and You've got an head on your shoulders. Start using it where it belongs, where it needs to be. It might not be a pretty subject, you might not really enjoy it, but the reality is it'll make a world of difference to your life. Have a crack. You never know. Ta-da.